Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. If you've been tuning into the life and career of Nipsey Hussle, you will know before he took off in rap, his early foundation to get him where he went started in the streets. Being from the Rolling 60 Crips, he was involved in a lot of gang activity, from conflicts with rival gang members, selling drugs, arrests, and small jail bigs, and just overall being a product of his environment. Being from one of the most recognized areas in South Central and in Los Angeles in general, the Crenshaw district, which many consider the heart of Black Los Angeles, symbolizing the area's history, resilience, and creativity. It was historically a vibrant center for Black businesses, culture, and also art, and is famous for its music scene and community events. So having roots in this community, he always had the grind and ambition, and him and his brother Black Sam made a lot coming from this area. Crenshaw and Slauson was the headquarters for the brothers, from selling drugs to Black Sam selling bootleg CDs. Both are natural-born hustlers. Black Sam was the business mind and wanted to own a clothing store out of the lot they conducted a lot of their business at the time out of, and that's what they did. The store they would later open became known as Slauson Tees. Nip began building his movement. He later signed to Cinematic Epic Records in 2007, and from then on, later dropping a collective of mixtapes called Bullets Ain't Got No Names. Nipsey began to get a lot of notice, and with the notorious Rolling 60 Crip Big U acting as his manager, it created him a lane in the industry. But Black Sam was in prison by this time. He was serving a 3-year bid after their store was raided, causing them to lose their store. This made Nipsey begin to focus more on his musical career.
All these traditional routes of how to get on as far as the record industry, you feel me? And we just taking it into our own hands and smashing how we do on the streets, just switching up the format and really transcending and taking it to the next level, you feel me? So fuck the middleman, really just symbolize our struggle, like, you know, we doing it without their help. Right. We coming straight out the trunk with it, you know, and we gonna go straight to the top with it, just like that. You feel me? Before we had the shop and all that, niggas should be right here out the trunk, doing what we do, getting our little money, you know what I'm saying, scraping up our little ends, and this shit took to, you know what I'm saying, each next level. Now we got the shop going, we got the deal popping. It was a quick and split before it was Master Burger. This was a clothing store, somebody else owned it. We was about 15, 14 out in the parking lot doing us. Before we was selling music, we were doing what all these young niggas do, trying to get money around here, grinding. Then we transitioned to music, transitioned to art music, and then, you know what I'm saying, built from that foundation. But then we came back and started the store. And this is actually the second store. We had one 2 doors down, the police raided. I went to jail, my brother went to jail. Y'all heard about it on the records, but we back out, so we still know and improve.
And once Black Sam was released, the brothers reopened their shop, now called Slauson Ave, but they seemed to always face police attention and crazy incidents at their shop. Now the Rolling 60 Crips have always been an active street gang since the 70s. The Rolling 60s have always been rivals to a lot of blood gangs, like the Brims, and many Inglewood Blood and Paru gangs, like the Avenue Parus, the Centinela Park families, and also the Inglewood Family Bloods, among others. And the Rolling 60 Crips had major wars with all of those gangs. With the start of social media, gangbanging began to become more broadcasted to the world, from enemies going at it on social media, to people recording their crimes against rivals, and pulling up to their enemies' areas and posting it, to the music, and a lot of gang members from various hoods rapping just to diss their enemies. By 2010, just off his music and his growing presence, Nipsey was well known to his enemies. He repped 60s hard in his music, and he had a lot of hate from his enemies. On the other side, you had a lot of major factors and gunners coming for the 60s in their deadly wars. You had well-respected Inglewood family members like Munchie B, known for being a real slider from his section, and his name was ringing bells by 2010. In his own section, and rival communities would even give him respect.
Cole's pulling up. Cole's doing it. Like, he made shit interesting. He made shit fun and whatever. Through the hundreds. He was one of these coming through our sides. But, you know, whatever Cud got to say, I'm not going to say nothing about Cud because, like I said, I know Cud came through. Shit interesting.
And they said, are you Melanie Wiley? And I said, yes. And I said that. You know?
Yeah, on Crip, Munchie was sliding, bro.
But the Inglewood Bloods would take things up a notch. They already were dissing in songs and broadcasting their beef with the whole neighborhood car and the 60s. But one crazy day after a video shoot in 2010, they would pull up to Nipsey's store, Slauson Ave. They were deep in numbers and had numerous carloads of people. They were there to cause destruction. Munchie B and his homies ransacked Nipsey's store, stealing and destroying property. It was many reports of what happened. Some say they laid hands on Nipsey's dad. Some reports say he wasn't touched and just hid while the Bloods destroyed the store. Some say none of that even happened. Neither Nipsey or Black Sam was at the store at the time of the incident. After this incident, some people would give insight of what happened in return for the Inglewood Bloods running through Nipsey's store.
What did they do? Like, what did the 60s do?
They went on like a 5-10 day packing out spree. They drove around cars 20, 30 deep, like maybe 15, 20 cars pulling up in everybody's hood, beating their ass. But the car was made to just go whoop some ass and lump some niggas up. And that's what they did. They went to everybody's hood and beat their ass and lumped them up. They went on Crenshaw, Manchester, beat everybody's ass, lumped them up. Went on Manchester by the swap meet, lumped up everybody walking around there. You know, they was beating the shit out of people. They was too deep for you to do anything anyway. They was popping out the car. I wasn't there, but little homies was telling me the ones who got packed out, they was just jumping out.
By 2011, Munchie B was in jail. Nipsey wasn't known for online beef, but he was the first person to put out a rumor that something happened to Munchie B behind bars, which many state is false, and some say is true, trying to ruin Munchie B's image in the streets.
5 of y'all you gonna break wide. What you gonna do?
Wait, so you're saying that y'all walked up to Slauson T's and there were members there who actually ran?
I'm just saying that the energy we brought could have been intimidating to a lot of people.
And people ran?
I mean, the security from No Jumper probably would have broke too. Like it's just intimidating. Like we came with a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They don't like when they gonna make up a elaborate lie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or try to make it to their little situation or whatever. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? I don't remember. You know, that was 2010. I don't remember what time it was.
Who was in the store though when y'all like walked in?
A male. I don't know who that was. That's nothing the internet put out. Nipsey dad. I don't know who that was.
Was he older?
I don't remember that either. That was 2010. It's 2024.
What did y'all take or what did y'all like damage?
The whole store. Took the whole store. Took everything.
Y'all took every t-shirt and walked out?
I don't know about every t-shirt. Majority.
Nipsey and Sam's shop would face more issues and a lot of drama over the years at their shop. One day, the LAPD were investigating an officer-involved shooting that took place at Crenshaw and Slauson, and the LAPD had responded to a fight. It was said between Los Angeles-based rapper Nipsey Hussle and Big U. It was reported that the two men got into a physical altercation near the alley of the rear Shell gas station at Crenshaw and Slauson in Hyde Park. According to eyewitnesses, Nipsey's brother Black Sam pulled out a gun to defend his brother and fired into the air to end the conflict. That's when LAPD officers arrived on the scene and fired at Black Sam, just missing him.
Stop getting harassed by these police. That's the beginning of this shit.
How many fights I done had in this parking lot, I can't count, man. How many fights Fats had, my brother had, we can't count. How many, incidents with the police right here. Let me show you something. So, if you look where Ant's standing right there, that's where my brother was standing, and if you look where, let me show you, stand about right here. This is where the police was busting from. And police is trained shooters. Police don't miss. And he busting like this in a full clip. And he didn't hit my brother at all.
It's fucked up. That's Nipsey car, the Beamer.
We've been through so many different tumultuous situations in the parking lot, but
Nipsey come back, it was a fallout. They went down, there was a fight, rumble happened. I believe Big U knocked Nipsey out. Black Sam comes out, fires 3-4 shots in the air. He's fresh out the penitentiary. Police sitting right across the street, they see it. They come in, they arrest everybody.
Nipsey, Black Sam, and Big U were all later took to jail, but later released. This showed the sour relationship between Big U and Nipsey began to have. As Nipsey's fame rose, many rivals in LA would diss him in songs like Little Sody from the 8-Tray Gangsters, Little Snick from the 107 Hoovers, among others. Even H-Crown from Fido's Hoover would pull up to Nipsey's store and record a video at night. And even the Rolling 60s have always had a lot of internal issues in their section, so Nipsey always had a lot of street issues within his own community. And his store was always a center for a lot of drama and attention, and even police attention. In 2017, the Slauson Ave store would take a rebrand. Nipsey and Black Sam opened a Marathon clothing store in 2017 with a launch event on June 17th. And days after the grand opening, the LAPD intensified its presence on the block. The LAPD program called Operation Laser, which aimed to prevent crime and restore peace, was formed in 2011. Around the same time the Slauson Ave flagship store was made. A patrol mission report from June 21st to June 27 of 2017 suggested that the officers were deployed to the anchor point at Nipsey Hussle store in a crime suppression effort. During that week at the location and surrounding blocks, LAPD recorded 58 stops, but made only 7 arrests, suggesting that the vast majority of the people stopped or detained, there was no probable cause to arrest them. In a mission in the following week, the LAPD stopped 103 people and made only 3 arrests. The records say LAPD was looking for a robbery suspect, described only as a black male between 16 and 18 years old. The stops carried serious consequences, even without an arrest. As part of the laser program, police routinely filled out field interview cards for civilians they questioned, even if they weren't taken to jail, and they would put their information into the LAPD databases, which could later be used against them. Police across the city would have allegedly used these cards to falsely label people as gang members and to collect their social media information. Nipsey said LAPD had frequently harassed his family and people at the plaza in the years leading up to the 2017 launch of the Marathon clothing store. At one point, he was arrested while he was working at one of his shops on his birthday for parole violation. But the police activity escalated dramatically over the years after the Marathon clothing launch. The store was raided in 2017, and Nipsey was handcuffed and harassed and arrested. I already mentioned the situation in 2011 between Nipsey Hussle, Black Sam, and Big U that led to all their arrests at their store. But this wouldn't be the only arrest. Nipsey had been arrested at a store numerous times. In 2014 at Slauson Avenue Clothing, which the store was previously called, according to LAPD, officers had arrived at the location because of a probation complaint search. The man suspected of violating probation was taken into custody, as was Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey was booked on charges of obstructing a peace officer. In an interview, Nipsey said it was like every 10 minutes, a police car is coming through the lot and officers are hopping out. It was non-stop, he said. In one instance, LAPD even stopped and questioned shoppers who appeared to be tourists, he said. The shoppers turned out to be off-duty police from out of state. It became, don't come here if you don't want police contact. If you did have a warrant, you ain't coming to buy nothing from us. It's like shit. I'm going to get pulled over. I'm going to get targeted, he said. Nipsey later said, it felt as if the LAPD officers were angry about the success of the store, which was a source of pride for the local community and drew fans and supporters from across the US. We're here every day selling clothes, so there is less crime. This is something that y'all should be happy about, but instead, their whole goal was just to shut it down, Nipsey said. The New York Times later uncovered that the city had been targeting the store as a nuisance property and the site of alleged gang activity, pressuring the landlord to evict the rapper and his business partners. The LA's nuisance abatement program allows the city to file evictions based on alleged criminal activity at a property, and records showed that the city considered evictions a key strategy to address issues. Emails reviewed by the group also show that some city law enforcement officials had communications with developers in South Central and other parts of the city about the eviction and enforcement efforts. Nipsey said in a statement that he and his brother had worked hard to make the corner in Crenshaw and Slauson a positive force in their neighborhood. He argued that their shop had helped reduce crime in their neighborhood, not boost it. Their landlord supported them, he said. He was making money and we were making improvements to the lot. He tried to voice that to the police, but said they didn't give a fuck about none of it. He said they were trying to label this as a city nuisance. Police told the landlord, if you don't stop their lease, we're going to seize the lot from you. Instead of evicting them, the landlord sold the property to Nipsey, Black Sam, and his business partners in 2018, which they considered a huge accomplishment. But just a year later, tragedy was striking that same lot. On Sunday, March 31st, 2019, Nipsey was in a parking lot outside of Marathon Clothing, as he was most Sundays. He had a small crowd around him, some taking selfies, and some chopping it up. Not all the conversations he had that day were so casual. Later, 2 eyewitnesses testified in the grand jury, hearing that they heard Nipsey and another man who was a Rolling 60 Crip named Eric Holder, who went by the name Shitty, talking about dangers of cooperating with the police. Nipsey warned Eric that there were rumors about police having paperwork on him and that the streets might see him as a snitch. Eric tried to brush it off. The convo was tense but cordial. The man dapped up and Eric left to get some food. A few minutes later, another man named Kerry, also known as an OG from the Rolling 60 Crips named Cousin Kerry, who had recently been in jail up until that point, had pulled up to Nipsey's Marathon Clothing and they was having a convo. Then shots broke out. According to a videotape evidence and eyewitnesses' accounts, Eric Holder walked back up to Nipsey with a gun and he started firing. Kerry was hit in the spine and fell to the ground. He said he couldn't see anything except the feet of the people all around him until he saw Nipsey fall to the ground beside him. Surveillance footage captured the shooter unloading nearly a dozen bullets into Nipsey before running into a nearby car. Nipsey and Kerry were rushed to the hospital. At 3:55 p.m. on March 31st, 2019, Nipsey was pronounced dead.
Remembering Grammy-nominated rapper Nipsey Hussle, gunned down outside the clothing store he opened with his brother.
He put stores in this community so that folks in the neighborhood can have jobs. So folks in the neighborhood could learn how to be entrepreneurs and leaders. And that is exactly who Nipsey Hussle was.
The 33-year-old, whose real name was Hermes Ashkudo, grew up in southern Los Angeles and publicly acknowledged his long association with the Rolling 60s Crips, one of LA's largest gangs.
We have lost someone who has inspired others, who have came from the ground all the way to the top.
Just minutes before he was killed, Hussle posted this tweet: "Having strong enemies is a blessing."
A few days later, Eric was arrested and later charged with murder. He was later sentenced to 60 years to life.
So for count one alone, it would be 50 years to life. The total sentence would be 60 years to life in prison. The court.
After Nipsey's death, something happened nobody could ever imagine. A lot of people came to the lot to show respect to him, but the biggest takeaway was several members from rival gangs came to show their respect to Nipsey. But months later, murals in that lot in his honor were defaced. Even after his death, the lot he owned still had issues. Black Sam said he and the other business partners eventually decided to temporarily close the plaza so that the city could no longer claim it as a nuisance. To this date, it's still closed. Nipsey's mission was to bring something back to his neighborhood and show his community it was another way to make it out. But his own community tried to extort him, police harassed him, and someone he knew from his own neighborhood killed him, and a lot he gave his all to. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.